We are live.
Whoa!
No intro, no nothing. Just here we are. Oh, I know why. Because when I was leaving, I shut that off. When I needed some time off, it just wasn't time to have that going. But you know, it's just 124 days until Christmas. I am thrilled to be back here to talk Star Wars with you today, Jason.
Me too,
I've missed
man.
you guys.
We missed you guys
too. It's some crazy stuff going on, and we were just talking right beforehand. Dad's still at Riverside Hospital. He's been there. This is day 15, and at this point, he still has no use of the left side. Like his left arm is completely out. The left leg is he can't bear any weight on it. He said he has enough recovery in his foot that he could crush about a potato chip. Like that's the amount of pressure. Anything more than that, he can't.
But you know what? You know what? We always say that's enough to crush an elf. And they will pay. They will pay for this insurrection against Father Christmas. They will pay.
We certainly have consequences here at the North Pole. No, it's good. So, but as I was telling Jason just beforehand, his mental health is up and down. So parts of the day, it's really good. He's, optimistic and he's doing things for himself. Other times, he won't even use like his right arm that he has some use of. So it's just, it's a process. And when you're a kid, you bounce back from things a little bit better than when you're 75 years old. So it's going to take him a bit, but we do expect it.
I found that out this year. When I was a dad, and I was human.
Unlike Meg, who may be a bot. Nobody knows.
Well, right? I know. I mean, the truth is I was really, really lonely, and I created this AI program, and I made Meg, but I'm so bad at everything. I wanted a companion, but I made a AI lesbian. And once it went off on its own, and it does its own stuff, and it made its own Star Wars show. And sometimes it comes into my chat and insults me, and that's about it. But we love our creations, so we love Meg.
Well, your AI is glad to see that you're fully clothed. Very good. Hey, friends, it's great to see you all here, and to spend a little time talking Star Wars.
Wait, X-Men quit his job?
We're really well. I don't know that he actually quit his job, but yeah, it's called proper pronunciation. Sure.
Guess where I'm going tonight, Meg? I'm going for sushi.
Mm-hmm. X-Wing's still waiting for that job offer coming from you, Jason. He's
$20 behind the 7-Eleven. See you at lunch.
There you go. So, hopefully today, Dad gets moved to his rehab facility, and we go into the next step. Yesterday, we got approval that the folks at Medicare approved the facility, and hopefully he'll be going there to get ready to come home. And I want to thank everybody who has donated to Dad's funds in different ways. We've had some money sent directly to us. We've had money sent to the GoFundMe, and of course to my PayPal, and here through Super Chats. So much support here. We are in the midst of finishing his bathroom remodel now. He's got to get new flooring put in his hallway, and then he should be, we've got new ramps to get him into the house. All of that is progressing very, very well.
But we
and we're
an equal outfit for the ramp. So when he goes up,
that's a great idea. That's a great idea. One thing I did see, and I'm quite tempted to, is they have a Razor Crest form that you could put over a wheelchair to turn your wheelchair into the Razor Crest. Now, Dad has absolutely no idea what the Razor Crest is.
Yeah.
And so it'll be completely lost on him. But I would be extremely entertained to see Dad wheeling around in the Razor Crest.
What does your dad think about the whole Star Wars thing and you? How does he? Yeah, how are your parents with that stuff?
He's a little weird about it. So since he's been in that bed for 14 days, there's a couple of cable stations that play Star Wars movies back to back, all the time.
Or something that's just one all the
time.
So
he said that last week he watched Star Wars for the first time.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he seemed to enjoy it well enough. But yeah, he's a little. He's 75 years old. He's still never watched Star Wars, so it's just not his thing. And he knows that I do this YouTube thing, but he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
my dad saw my name in Popular Mechanics one time, and then I think for 1 second he kind of respected me about this stuff. Almost.
Well, Dad always wanted us to have a little better lives than he did.
Sure.
He worked hard his whole life. He was on his feet. He did a job that he hated. It was laborious and it had an effect on his body. And he wanted us to have good jobs where we could have careers and not just be laborers. And so we did.
Wait, I got a text message from your dad. He said, "So say we all, BSG, biatch." Oh, he likes Battlestar Galactica. He doesn't really get Star Wars, but he's a big Battlestar guy.
Hilarious. No, he never really got any of that stuff. He was, and I talked to X-Wing a little bit about this because X-Wing came from like more of the kind of background that I actually came from. Mm-hmm. We lived on a hobby ranch or hobby farm my entire life. At one point,
what does that mean? Does that mean like you don't necessarily need it to survive, but you try to? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it means that you have a farm with different kind of animals or crops or whatever, but you don't make your primary living off of it. Sometimes it's just a wash. And so at one point he had over 20 head of horses. He was always breeding, training, raising horses. And I know X-Wing was involved with some rodeo type stuff before. And we just come from that kind of rural country, Westernish kind of culture. And so I spent all my summers being drugged to horse shows, and I told some stories that stupid things we did as kids. But the one example is I was lunging a horse, which is when you're exercising them on a long line, right? Yeah. And I've got a little weanling, which is a colt. It's smaller. They're less than a year old. That's a weanling. I've got this weanling, and I'm maybe 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. And I'm lunging this thing, and it's a little stronger than I am. Hint: horses are stronger than people. and the horse, it kept running out to the end of the line and pulling me. And Dad was worried it was going to get loose of my hands, so he tied the line around my waist and tied a little slip knot in it. Well, the horse took off. I lost my feet, and onto the ground. I'm getting drugged through manure, wet, nasty, just gunk, right? The front side of me completely soiled. Yeah. The back side completely dry.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sort of thing that I grew up with. But so Dad was always with the, outside, the horses, the animals, baling hay. We did that every summer. That's no fun, but it's the life. So Don's
mind is right where mine was. Like, so you did a Marty McFly. That's like literally what I was going to say, but I was like, back to part 3 reference. Nobody will get it, but Don gets it.
Exactly. Exactly. So why does lunging a horse sound like CrossFit? Right. It is. And was I in 4-H? I was not Salty Texas Ranger, although we did horse shows. We did breed association shows. And we traveled all around doing those breed association shows. So I wasn't in 4-H. I didn't like horses all that much, but it was our family thing. That's what we did. And my brother was in 4-H with his horse, and my kids were both in 4-H with their horses. But no, it wasn't my thing.
If we were like in a snowstorm or something like that, right? And let's say like the horse died and I was real cold, would you like cut one open and put me inside it maybe to save my life?
like a tauntaun.
Would you do that? Because that's pretty crazy when you think about the fact that Han Solo did that and you think about us doing that. I think Han Solo might be a psychopath because that's just kind of out there.
It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of out there. So hey, I've been keeping up with some Star Wars news along the way. You guys are all going to have to help fill in some blanks for me because I've been working from the hospital and doing things separately. So
Fun nouns.
Yeah, so I do have some topics for today that are Star Wars related, and
Ad lib Star Wars from Santa. Yeah.
The first one I think comes as no surprise to anyone who has been paying attention to what's going on with Disney Plus and the series there. And I'm starting to see this more across streaming services as a whole. We just saw House of Dragons backed up, right? They moved it on HBO to put it on a different week. And,
I keep trying to watch it, and I keep like getting really bored and falling asleep and stuff. I hope it's good, but man, I was just like, I don't know what that was at the start. I don't know if that's how people. I don't know how people are feeling because I haven't watched people's opinions on it. Did you watch Game of Thrones by any chance?
No. Well, I saw the original Game of Thrones, but I haven't seen this House of Dragons thing yet. Yeah. I'm more excited for the coming Lord of the Rings thing next week.
Yeah,
and
it's no Willow, but it's pretty cool.
It does. So I'm looking forward to all of that. But streaming services are starting to move things here and there. Mm-hmm. And we saw that happen, of course, with Andor. Andor was supposed to have started already. It was supposed to come up next week, the 31st, right? 30th, 31st?
Yeah, like this week sometime, yeah.
Yeah. And then it got postponed because they wanted to.
Yeah.
They wanted to save She-Hulk, right? Disney said She-Hulk won't survive if you guys smash us. Hulk smash us. So they pushed Andor.
She-Hulk was almost Jyn Erso, real close. I have like, and she comes out of like a lot of Canadian filmmaking, and I had so many sources there. Man, I really wanted her to be Jyn Erso. Like I really needed. Like I still got the name and everything from that, but. Yeah, she was almost in Star Wars so many times, and so it's weird that she's finally in a Marvel show at least. But I'm glad. I like it though. It's dumb. It's really stupid. But I think anybody who hates that show, man, you take yourself way too seriously on that one.
Yeah. Fun. I thought She-Hulk was okay. Yeah. And it's not the best thing coming or going, but we watched. This past week, in the evening, we watched season 1 of La Brea.
Okay,
you guys, if you want to set a benchmark, watch La Brea, right? And then all of a sudden, Kenobi seems much, much better. all these complaints about effects in the Book of Boba Fett, pish posh. They're fantastic. Go watch La Brea and then come back to me. Right, that show is not good.
I kept meaning to send you this over the last couple of days, and I keep forgetting. These ads on the Hollywood Reporter about Boba Fett and Emmys. There's like 5 different ones, and they're like all. I don't know if it's because of like my cookies or whatever, but boy, are they really trying to let everybody at the trades on all of them know that Book of Boba Fett has 4 Emmys. or for nominations, I should say.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we're just so deep into it that we see more of the fine tuning kind of things, and it goes back to a thing that I kind of talked about with Astromech Jeremy, as musicians or performers, when you're performing a work that's like a written piece of music or theater,
Yeah.
you'll catch in your own performance little mistakes here and there. And if you actually watch another orchestra, band, or ensemble perform that same work, you'll pick up as well and be like, "Ooh,
as Santa, do you ever eat the whole cookie instead of just taking the one bite where you can see like a thing and you're like, man, you know what? I should have just done the little like half moon bite instead of like the whole cookie."
But sometimes you just have to, go for it. But yeah, it's just. I thought, hey, Max is here. Good to see you.
Hey, Max.
I think we take it a little too seriously, and we kind of get into it a little too much, and we kind of miss the big picture of it, right?
Well, the big picture of it is they're putting those ads on the trades because they want the people at the Emmys to give it awards. They're buying the award. That's my point.
Well, that's true. That's not untrue at all. Yeah, that's how Hollywood works.
Yeah, it's campaigning, and that's why I just ultimately think award shows are stupid. The whole awards thing is stupid, and don't let awards validate what you love or don't. You know what I mean?
That's true. Reason. That's true. And so when it comes to the news with Bad Batch being delayed, I think it comes as no surprise to anybody because Andor got pushed to the 21st, and you see Bad Batch on the schedule for the 28th, and you're like, really? Are they really going to put it right there? And also notice on Disney Plus, they pushed She-Hulk to Wednesday nights, Thursday releases instead of Tuesday night, Wednesday releases. So things are getting, they're still kind of fiddling with this release schedule thing. And I saw Fanjecture in the chat, Adam on his Discord or on his Twitter kind of pointed out a few weeks ago that some of these streaming services, they're still trying to figure out where their footing is and how they're going to make this thing work. And I know Peacock's losing money. A lot of these services are still in the kind of priming the pump phase where they're putting more money in than they're getting back out, hoping that at some point that thing's going to hit pay dirt and the oil's just going to start, right? The revenue is just going to start pouring out.
Well, that's how like, I mean, when you look at the model for streaming services overall, and I'm not saying it's working or it's not, I actually don't know, but it's not unlike how the music industry used to be, where you would put out a lot of good records and they wouldn't necessarily make money at first. And then eventually, like Queen would do a night at the opera and it would be worth it. They'd do 5 records and then bam, they finally hit. But before that, Mott the Hoople is carrying the label or whatever. And that's kind of what they're doing like at Netflix, like with Stranger Things, for instance. Like Stranger Things, I think the big gift to the industry from Stranger Things is how many smaller shows get made because of the success of that show. However, when you look at exactly what they're doing with like the scheduling and stuff, they're just taking the old model from film. Like they would go and they would announce that they're going to do Star Wars on December 19th or whatever, and then release dates would shift. Like stuff like that, like not overlapping, not ruining your big premiere. It's really the same politics as theatrical Hollywood. There's just not really a difference. And I think they're just kind of slow to realizing that we consume that stuff just the same as we would consume Hollywood films. Only difference is Hollywood films used to be a hell of a lot cheaper to go to the theater and see something. And they've literally pretty much outpriced it from being something where we just go willy-nilly on the fly, 4 times a week or whatever. They actually are hurting themselves with it.
Yeah, and something I kind of think about as you're saying that, and I read this comment from Quentin, some of them will shudder because of the impatient on the network's part. I think there'll be some combining, like we see going on with HBO Max, Discovery Plus, and all that, right? So that whole thing's getting kind of consumed, and it'd be a new streaming service under whatever name they decide to come under, and it'll include all of those. It's a bit of an amalgamation, right? And it's that way somewhat with Disney Plus, where you've got Marvel and Disney and Pixar and Star Wars and Nat Geo, right? You've got several platforms in there, and I think we might see more of that happen. Returning almost full loop back to where we were with cable services, where you subscribe to a package and you get like all of these channels, and then if you want to upgrade, you add another $10, you get all these other channels. It really is, as they get combined like that, it's seeming more and more like that's where we're headed. But what has happened is that they've cut the cable companies out of the middleman, right? So this is how you're going through Comcast or whatever the cable network is. Well, they're not having to cut a piece of that revenue off to the provider. They're their own provider.
Yeah.
And it's a straight to studio kind of thing, right?
Farm to table.
Farm to table. Yeah. So I think that's what's sort of happened, and these cable companies are the ones that are going to end up suffering at the end of the day, because I don't think they're ever going to want to give up that direct to consumer money.
No, they won't.
It's just figuring out how to balance it and how to package it so that you're giving enough value to customers to stay addicted, right? Mm-hmm. And I saw an article come across in one of the entertainment blogs or whatever that said it was talking about Disney and keeping ESPN. Would they keep ESPN? Should they keep ESPN? Blah, blah, blah. Well, I think there's a strong argument to be made that, that's what you're going to see, right? Like, they're going to keep ESPN. They may even add, start to bundle things together. I think Hulu may be on its way out, to tell you the truth. I think it may get consumed into the Disney Plus offering.
That's exactly where it's going. I mean, when you look at how Disney Plus is in the UK compared to the United States, I really think that Hulu only exists for the live TV aspect and those deals that were made, and it'll completely merge eventually. It doesn't make any sense. I even look at what HBO is doing, even though I think HBO is they're crazy. I don't know what they're thinking, unless there's some magic plan and we're all going to look back and go, wow, he was a real disruptor, but in reality, I don't think that's what's happening. I think you have a bunch of old dudes who don't know how to run HBO, and it's ultimately really good for Disney Plus. I think, unfortunately, though, because I do think that like HBO classically setting like a gold standard is really, I don't know if that'll go away, but it is really important that we do have an HBO that says this is the bar, and then Star Wars and Marvel sort of dance around it in a dummy way. I mean that respectfully, but it's, if you can like compare Book of Boba Fett to Rome, it's like there's differences in terms of the dramatic seats.
And as Quentin said, there's another layer being added to all these streaming services, is the ad revenue layer. Mm-hmm. Right? So I think Peacock is the first one that came out. So you can get our service for free. Just download the app and you're good to go. And then, but you get all the ads that you would if you were watching NBC, right? Like you're watching the Sunday night movie, whatever. Those are, that layer was there. And then if those ads annoy you, well, for just $5, you can reduce them. Or for $10, you can get no ads at all. Wouldn't that be great? And so then you get to choose. Right? Yeah. And then, and I see the same thing happening. We bought a package for Paramount Plus. And the funny thing is, with both of those services, we bought the ad-free package. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning, they still ad for their other shows. Yeah, like there's 2 ads for other shows that you should watch, and so we know Disney Plus is fixing to do the same thing. They're going to add a tier for ad revenue, and it is going that cable route. And then you can pay to not watch ads, right?
And I think it's like 4 minutes of commercials per hour on Disney Plus. So I'm not. It if it was just the shows, I would probably just go with the ad version and just save a couple bucks because why bother? But when I think about like wanting to watch Empire Strikes Back and then all of a sudden having 15 minutes of ads or whatever 8 minutes of ads about She-Hulk during it, I don't want that.
Yeah, yeah. And Meg, I'm sick of the amount of subscription services there are. I think we're just going to have to bear with it, right? Or go to the ad-supported tier so that you can budget and still keep. This is the way that they keep their revenue flowing. Instead of getting you to cancel your subscription, you cancel your tier, right? So you go from the paid tier to the unpaid tier. You're still consuming the content, and they're getting their revenue from the ads instead. They keep their hooks in you that way, rather than getting you to, okay, I'm going to subscribe for this show, and then I'm going to unsubscribe, and I'll go to something else, and then keep flipping around. Well, then you can still keep watching their content, and they're still going to get the revenue. So, I think that's where that's going. So, with the Bad Batch, I didn't think it's no surprise they're pushing it. When do you suppose? So they at this point they just kind of took it off of the schedule, but they didn't put it back on somewhere. Do you think it's going to come back on for this year, or is it is it going to make it in before January 1st or after?
I think it's looking like after, personally. But do we ever get anything other than? I mean, there was a date, and was that date even real, or was it like an unofficial leak? Like, where did that date come from? Because that's like the other thing is when we say it's delayed, is it really delayed? Did we ever actually get an official release date? But with how it looks, it sounds to me like they're either going to push it to 2023, or they're just going to drop it all at once in this little tiny window when there's nothing going on.
Good point. I mean, they did have a release date. It was supposed to be 28th.
It was officially that? Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to create a poll. This sounds like a poll question. Bad Batch Season 2, before or after Jan 1, 2023? That's my question, right? And so we'll make the two options: before, after. I should put premiere, right? Not the whole season.
Sure.
There we go. There we go. We'll find out what you all think. So that's my question: is will the Bad Batch? Will it? Disney Plus is watching. No, they're not. But before or after January 1st, will they sneak the Bad Batch Season 2 in there? And then I would reckon the next question is, will it come in multiple episodes or perhaps a full season in the single drop? Or will they do it as they have for Season 1, maybe a 2-episode premiere or 3, whatever, and then episodically week by week?
They would be better served to just drop it all at once on the animated shows, I think, for the most part. Unless they really are swinging for the fences and being like, this could have been a live action show, it just happens to be animated. Because otherwise, adult fans go in looking for The Mandalorian Season 3, basically. And it's not really that. And then so the kind of like week by week thing, it doesn't work for it. And then kids only get as much time as they get to watch shows anyways. And with kids, Disney, you want them in that ecosphere. You want them just totally watching that show all the time. So kids aren't week to week viewers anyways. They just kind of like meander through entertainment unless their parents set them on a track usually, I think. So I don't really know why they do the week to week thing when they have content, for the animated shows,
Yeah.
Because I would enjoy it more. I would definitely enjoy it more if I could just watch the whole season at once and just be like, there's what they did. I don't feel strung along like, oh, are you guys making this a question? Is she Boba Fett's sister? Or does that matter? And then it doesn't come up. Then I feel like, well, why did you even put that out there? Like, why'd you put that out there right now? You know, that kind of stuff. Like, but that won't happen if it's all at once.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not sure that they agree with us.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, sure. No, I mean, but they don't necessarily. That's when they had a content issue, though.
True.
I think they would be. I do like the Bad Batch. It's not my favorite thing in Star Wars at all. It's not a high priority of Star Wars for me. But they are crazy if they think Bad Batch is subscriber bait. It's just not. I mean, I like the show. It's not a knock on the show. But it's not like, oh man, people aren't like, I need to subscribe to Disney Plus and watch the Bad Batch. They're gonna do that for Mandalorian. Like it's two different tiers of Star Wars entertainment, you know, in my opinion, anyways.
So I follow you 100%. I think it's great. And Nerd Mafia, I see your super chat coming up. Thank you so much for that. There's another, just to kind of throw a wrench in there. He's already back. No, for the Stranger Things season, they did it in a part 1 and a part 2, where they dropped half the season, well, or more, or whatever, and then they dropped the ending.
That was for production reasons, but I see where you're going with it, and I agree.
Yeah, I think maybe they could do something like that, a hybrid release. Release it in waves. So season 2, part 1, part 2, part 3, where you do maybe 4 episodes at a time, or do like an arc. If you've got, back in the Clone Wars animated series, there were story arcs that would be 3 or 4 episodes, sometimes 2, and you could release each of those. Before
the dark times, Star Wars stories had arcs to them, tales, if you will.
Tales.
Stories. No, I'm kidding.
That was awesome. That was awesome. That was perfect, Jason. Thank you. That would be great if they would do that, and they could do it like just drop an entire story arc together, and then maybe
kind of what Andor's doing in the first one. I wish they did that for all. Like that would be kind of nice that they did like those little clusters. But on Andor, I get doing that one as a week to week because it's like little mini Star Wars movies.
Right. And so with Meg's prediction that Bad Batch is in October, Andor, know that they've already published the episodes, and they'll go through November or into November a good bit. I think there's an argument to be made that the Bad Batch will get pushed after Andor, entirely after, and maybe it'll bridge, or we still have Tales of the Jedi animated series, and then we go into Mando season 3, right? Or
I have a theory. I have a theory that because they have always, when it comes to the animated stuff, they have always been super conscious about how the animated stuff can damage the brand, about what it means to the brand. Literally, why Clone Wars was canceled initially. And I think Tales of the Jedi is a really serious endeavor at getting like lore heavy, meaningful animation out. They may not want to drop Bad Batch, which is like lighthearted A-Team. It's not like the same seriousness, I guess you'd say, as that story. They may want to hold it until after Tales of the Jedi to not hinder Tales of the Jedi by people going, oh, it's just going to be like, a little girl and her friends or whatever she says. Like they might want to like try to class to join up a little bit, so to speak. I don't mean that disrespectfully. I know people love Bad Batch. I'm not saying that they don't, but I think that there's a difference between like telling Dooku and Qui-Gon's backstories and then what Bad Batch does. Like, oh no, where are we going to go this time? And so I kind of think they're holding it until after. I don't have anything that's not based on anything. That's just my sense. And then looking at how they've behaved and where their anxieties seem to rest with animation.
Right. I, you mentioned before that was before they had a content problem.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said for that. That now they're getting content lined up where you could truly have new Star Wars content of the week all year, with maybe exception of a week here or there, which kind of fits into the episodic release schedule and keeps people subscribed, year round just for that. And add in if you're watching Marvel or you're watching some other series from Nat Geo or whatever, right?
Yeah.
If you're addicted to the Jeff Goldblum show, which is quite entertaining, but in any event, you can keep watching this. Yeah, so I really don't know how to predict what's going to come after Andor and what the methodology will be. We know that we have the Bad Batch season 2, presumably about the same number of season as the first, right? And we've got Tales of the Jedi, which are many. I expect Tales of the Jedi to come out like Visions did, one hit, and then
I was
Bad
under
Batch
the
to be.
impression that it was happening that way. I don't know if that's just something I made up now in my mind, or if that's what was said at Celebration. But I was under the impression they said it was going to drop all at once. But maybe I'm wrong.
I think that's an assumption that we've made, a presumption, if you will. So, yeah. So
we thought so because they're like kind of shorter sometimes.
Right,
Some
they're
of them are
shorts.
short.
Yeah, they're shorts.
I think that's when they said that they were going to drop them all at once. I think I'll have to look that up for next time, but I think I'm right about that.
So, Quentin, $10 super chat. Thank you for that as well. Disney Plus is special because it doesn't have a network counterpart. Well, they sort of do. ABC, right? ABC is a Disney property. If they can keep subscribers, it's a bigger win in some ways. Sure, you have Netflix, but Amazon's the only real threat.
There was an article this week about how Disney, Hulu, and ESPN have finally like overtaken the market.
Yes, I saw that. They passed Netflix in subscribers. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that right there does say something about diversifying, though, and not merging them all into one thing. Like they are, you know what I mean? They are doing it without doing that. So we'll have to see if how it all pans out in the end. But it does seem like Hulu. I still do think Hulu will get eaten up, but just without the live TV by Disney Plus eventually.
Yeah, I think so. Which, and I just mentioned ABC. I hadn't put them in there. It is in that same. We don't have ABC doesn't have a streaming service, do they? I know NBC through Peacock, CBS through Paramount Plus.
Hulu might really be the ABC kind of app when you get down to it. Like that kind of might be where all that content ends up, anyways. So I don't know why they would do one.
Yeah. So there you go. That's that fits in with that. So if you were to keep Hulu more as like the ABC Plus, whatever you want to call that, right?
What does it even mean?
It means streaming service.
It's so dumb. I don't get how plus means streaming. You know what I mean? It's just so dumb.
It's just what it means. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to know when will Bad Batch come out. Will it be episodic? Will they do it in like a part 1, part 2? Will they, following like Stranger Things, or drop the whole thing? And with Tales of the Jedi, and then on its back, you've got Mandalorian season 3, Ahsoka, and on. Right? I mean, the list just keeps coming, and so it's just hard for me to put it all together.
Yeah.
Mike Porter, thank you for this. We mentioned it before. Look, my dad's medical needs are still unknown. We haven't gotten any bills. We don't know what's going on there. He does have Medicare, which here in the States is the closest thing to like single payer coverage that you can get for retirees. And Then we've got auto insurance policies. The lady that hit Dad was uninsured and had a suspended license. Her court date keeps getting pushed, so we don't know what's going on with any of that. We don't know what deductibles we may have to pay or what kind of limits there will be. But I will let you all know that we are using the funds that we've gotten to make improvements to Dad's residence so that he can live there in a wheelchair and not have to go to a nursing home. So your donations have made a tremendous impact to his future of being able to come home that much sooner. And we are eternally grateful for all of you who have helped so much. So
Yeah,
much.
I dream of a day where there's so many donations we could build him a mech suit and he could go fight the lady who hit him. That'd be good.
That'd be funny. Yeah.
He needs a mech suit.
Oh my goodness. Let's see. Well, I saw some things in here before I jump to the next.
We should also point out that Quentin and Meg have a chat together on Quentin's channel that people should check out too. By the way.
Do they?
Yeah,
I have not seen this
thing. It's a thing. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Where did I saw? Oh, here. Okay. Let me get caught up.
I know. I wish there were like on these things like you could just like flag them. Like this is what I want to get to in a bit. Like I need to add that picture.
Yeah, like line them up. Yeah. The Sandman looks good. I've seen it. It was good. I enjoyed it. Let's see. I saw something about ABC in here. Oh, Jeff Goldblum show. Yep. Disney Plus. So we're going to switch to this content here in just a second. The Kenobi behind the scenes documentary is coming. They just dropped the trailer for it. Something that you will watch right away because you have a Star Wars show, or something you would watch right away even if you didn't have a Star Wars show.
Yeah. I'm excited for it though.
I'm asking, what would for you? Does it look like something that you would watch right away? A, because you have a Star Wars show, or B, even if you didn't have a Star Wars show?
Well, me, I watch everything, so I'm just like this. I'm off the table on the question. You know what I mean? Like I watch it all. I enjoy it all. I mean, I actually didn't watch that Lego thing yet. Still didn't watch that.
Okay,
but that's a little outside of it for me. That's like a different thing. But in terms, I would say, I wish the behind the scenes stuff came out closer to the release of the thing itself. But
didn't they do that with Mandalorian season 1? It'd be like
gallery, like the first
gallery? With the gallery, where
it was a little bit closer, I think.
The episode for how they made the episode came out right after, so you could watch them as it was going.
Yeah. I think that they are more cognizant of the fact that with the prequels, they were so like, here's the making of stuff with it, that a discourse was able to be formed and used against the prequels and CGI. Like, there are no models, but there's all kinds of models, like stuff like that. And I think with these shows, I think that's kind of why they hold back on it a bit. I think they want to see where things shake out, what not to put in the behind the scenes. I could be wrong, but I feel like they read the room on how those edits come out.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because what I saw in the Book of Boba Fett was a lot of the reasoning behind why they were doing what they were doing during the filming. And it helps inform the viewers to what you're watching and why it is that way. And when we were watching the episodically, there was a lot of, back and forth about, they don't know what they're doing. Oh, this isn't what we signed up for. Oh, this sucks, right? But if you kind of look at it through the lens of what they were trying to do, and sure, maybe it's a PR spin on all of it. I get that.
Yeah.
But at least with that, you can view it through that lens and maybe not get so, twisted over it not being what you wanted. It's actually what they were going for. And then you can say, well, maybe what they're going for isn't what you wanted. That's
what I find to be super strange about Star Wars in general. Like, I think the Taika Waititi movie, I think I'm probably most likely going to enjoy it since I generally enjoy his work. But I do think it's probably going to be the wrong tone for the first Star Wars movie in several years for that to be the first one that pops up after the hiatus. I think that's probably a bad idea. And last night I watched Book of Boba Fett. Just put it on. And I was like, you know what? It's pretty dumb, but I like it a lot, actually. I'm actually like really enjoying this dumb show. I like this dumb Star Wars. It's dumb in the right way. And the only problem with it was when it hit in the big scheme of things. Yeah. We were like thirsty for this very like deep thing. Yeah. And then we got like, oh, and here's, you know, this Remington still on Tatooine. And you're kind of like, but now that we got like Kenobi and there's Andor's coming, I'm kind of looking at Boba and I'm kind of like, you know, I kind of appreciate this more.
Yeah, I that's sort of where I was going with before. Like maybe we get too far into the weeds and we're looking at it too granularly, and you back up and you look at you see the forest instead of just the trees, right? You're looking at the scope of it, and you can enjoy it. And I remember even during the time when I was watching one of the series, and I think it was maybe Sheev the Wise from Vader's Lair, who asked the question.
Oh, hell, Sheev the Wise.
It's like, you look like you're having fun while you're watching this. And I was. And that's when I kind of just checked myself and said, look, I'm having fun. Whether it's dumb or not is sort of beside the point. Like, that puts it in a category. But was it fun? Yeah. Did I have fun watching it? Yeah. I had a lot of fun watching it. So now it's sort of changed to my mind, instead of like a scale of quality to a scale of fun. And maybe that's me shilling, right? Like finding a way to excuse it because maybe the quality doesn't stand up where I would want it to be. But I don't know. The quality to me seems good. But when I back off and think of it, like, how would a 10-year-old me who fell in love with Star Wars and teenage me who was still a fan of Star Wars look at this series, and is it fun? Are you enjoying it? Does it bring you a little bit of escapism for a little bit and let you quit worrying about all the serious problems that we have as a world, as a country, as a state, or as a family? There are things in all of our lives that are messed up, and I watched a heartbreaking video today from one of Meg's supporters. My heart breaks absolutely for her, but
what happened?
She just run into a rough spot in her life, just difficulty upon difficulty, and now she doesn't have a place to live. They're going to be living out of their car for a while. Look, it sucks. I've had to live out of the back of a car or a pickup truck, right?
Yeah,
for a while. I've been homeless, and I've been through that. And Tiffany is her name, Tiff. She's a great heart, great person. And you start to realize, look, whether it's me spending an entire day at Riverside Hospital with my dad, who is going through some severe trauma, or Tiffany, who's going through some really difficult life things, to have her in a bad spot, or all of us, right? All of us, we have things in our lives. And can you watch Star Wars and just escape and have fun? And when I watch these shows, be it Bad Batch or Kenobi or Book of Boba Fett, did I have fun? I certainly did. And so I'm very appreciative for that.
Yeah. But Saw Gerrera's eyes, man. What's up with that?
Right. And Brennan making Star Wars show today?
Yeah. Making Star Wars show today.
Very good. Oh, great. Quentin, ABC isn't much of a crutch for them. ABC's more like a Hulu for them, but cable. And I saw somebody say that you can get the ABC app and watch things. So, right.
Yeah, I mean, like, they all have app, but is it like a premium service, or is it just like catch last night's episode? You know what I mean? Like, right. Such a difference, like, kind of. That's
model. Normally or like a 1 week delay on them, stuff like that. Exactly.
I watch all of my ABC shows on ABC Prime. Like,
You know, that's really good.
ABC Go. Remember
Yeah,
when they tried to make Go a thing? Like,
right. Now it's plus. Everybody has.
yeah.
There's even a Thor Skywalker plus. So yeah, we need a Making Star Wars plus show. We need a Star Wars Santa plus show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have their own plus show. I need a Meg plus. Wait, no.
Meg Plus.
No, no.
Meg Prime. Meg
There you
Prime.
go.
Mhm.
Oh, it's so good. Astromech Jeremy, thank you so much. Thank you. It's so nice hearing your ho-ho again. Check out Quentin and Meg's interview. So great. Well, Astromech Jeremy, I love Quentin's podcast, the Quentin Time podcast. All of his interviews are brilliant. They're absolutely brilliant. I had a great time when I hung out with him. I enjoyed Jason's interview, Sheaves. I've watched many folks interview with him. He's a great interviewer. He's a great host, and his show's great. So I can't wait to hear Quentin and Meg's interview. So, my goodness, that's so good. Yeah,
Yeah, this week Jeremy was like, "Where my hose at?" And then here you are.
here I am. Here I am. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Let's see if I can get caught up. Oh, here we go. Matt Risman. Hello, Matt. Another fantastic dude. They saved Kenobi behind the scenes so we wouldn't have no Star Wars plus Disney content. Yeah, there's the other shoe, right? Disney Plus Day's coming. Woohoo! We get this behind the scenes Kenobi documentary.
Yeah.
Anything else coming on Disney Plus Day for Star Wars fans? Are we going to get?
They're going to
anything?
announce. They're going to announce the Saw Gerrera Darth Maul double team up spin-off show. Just read Twitter for a few minutes, and there'll be a guy doing kung fu in his front yard telling you all kinds of stuff that's going to be on Disney Plus Day. But I do think that they were smart. I think that they said, let's save this or let's release this on Disney Plus Day. That way we do have something to give that's of substance, something to watch.
Yeah. Look, Lucasfilm.
They're made up day. Not even a real day. Why do we buy into it? Disney Plus Day. You can't just well, that's Jason Day. So let's fight it out. I mean, I called it. So it's so dumb.
Well, look, it is dumb, but it's a way to. It's you remember every year. Remember every year, like in the fall, right before the new shows would come out, you'll get this preview show that would come out the week before all the new shows, and you would get, this season on Knight Rider or, all the shows that service had, and I would be waiting for the Saturday morning cartoons. What's going to be on Saturday mornings? What's going to be on? And I'd have to watch through all this boring nonsense, and then they'd show me like Super Friends. I'd be like, meh. Anything else?
Shirt tails. What?
right. So to me, Disney Plus Day is sort of like that. It's like, here's what we've got coming, but then Lucasfilm gives us a goose egg, and we don't know anything, and they don't get it. Like on those preview shows that we used to get with the networks, they would show you all the things, all right, and you knew, hey, this is what they've got on the lineup. Now, a show might get canceled. You might end up with a replacement series come in or something like that. But Lucasfilm doesn't seem to understand that's the right. This was the job you were given. Right, you were given a job. Show us what's coming, and they're like, documentary for what you just saw. No, come on, show us what we're going to be getting. Are we going to get anything? Will we find out where the Bad Batch went?
I bet you. I'm betting that we get acknowledgement. I don't know how deep the substance of the acknowledgement will be, but when you have a whole cast for Skeleton Crew right now filming, like we're starting to see stuff from Skeleton Crew, and they need to kind of get on it, or it's just going to come out through Bespin Bulletin or myself or Ahsoka's new site. I cannot remember what it's called at the top of my head. I'm sorry, but it's going to happen. So they should that would be an example of something that they could kind of throw out there and show Jude Law for 1 second in a dumb costume, and people's like, wow. And then, but that would be like, I need to be subscribed to Disney Plus because I want to see Jude Law in space.
So Quentin needs to be working with Taika, because this is what I think people want to see.
Oh yeah, I would watch that show.
What We Do in the Shadows of Tatooine. Mm-hmm. That's the show everybody wants. Right there, now that it's been spoken into the universe, this is what we all need. I don't now you've ruined it. This is the show we've all been waiting for. We didn't know we needed, but now we desperately need it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
No, I could see a series or a mini series or whatever with not cinema verite, not like, talking to the camera like it's The Office, but where you have those types of characters, because there would be people in the Star Wars universe who think they're Darth Maul and aren't. And that it could be inherently funny if handled correctly. I would I wouldn't want all Star Wars to be that way, but every now and then, if they did something a little off the wall, Pele Moto putting together a team for a heist, and you have the guy who thinks he's, Darth Maul, it would be fun. I would watch it. I would watch it a one-off. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good. Really good. Hey, Jedi Jen, good to see you. Thanks for dropping in here. That's great. Just getting caught up. Yeah.
If Nikki Nick doesn't say I'm wrong in the chat, it means she agrees with everything I've said today. Did you know that? Did you know? Were you aware of that? I mean, that's what that means.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Look, sure. Adam Fanjaxer is. I miss Adam's show tremendously. He has great insight and takes on what's going on just in entertainment as a whole. And he had a morning show that he did for a long time that I thought was tremendous and big inspiration for my own show. And so when he says Hulu isn't going anywhere anytime soon, I believe you. I just don't know if it'll get kind of repurposed, because we're already starting to see some content switch over from Hulu to Disney Plus, save more of the mature content, right? Deadpool and things like that are getting consumed over into Disney Plus, and that I think may clear the way for ABC to have more of a foot hold in there. And to Jason's point before, like, it serves them well. The way they have more subscribers is that they have different services. The ESPN Plus crowd are not necessarily watching all the Bad Batch.
Well, isn't Hulu's real value in the live TV deals that they have set up? That's where I think people are really use it, and where it would probably remain. But also, like in the UK, where they have there's alternate means of that kind of distribution. You could watch the Sex Pistols series on Disney Plus. That's crazy. Like over here, that sounds crazy to me, but I would rather it be that way personally, though. So maybe I just want that.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Getting caught up on the chat again, and I highlighted Obsession's comment before. Look, and I think there's something to be said for people who, how do I say this? Like-minded people need a place where they can gather with like-minded people. But there's a downside to that if all you do is spend time with like-minded people. And I don't care what it is in reference to. If it's religion, politics, or Star Wars, right? It doesn't matter. If all you do is spend time with like-minded people, it can lead you down a rabbit hole in isolation in these echo chambers that we hear about that would get fed by algorithms and the internet. Yeah. So I think it's great for people to have an outlet to come and say, I didn't like that, right? There needs to be a website for pineapple on pizza is an atrocity, right? And then I could join it, and I could talk about pineapple on pizza being an atrocity with all my like-minded friends. But that doesn't really help overall when we were talking with a diverse group of folks who maybe some do like pineapple on their pizza and some like different varieties of different things. And if all you do is spend time, you might get the idea that nobody likes pineapple on their pizza. Likewise, you might get the idea nobody liked Kenobi or nobody liked Boba Fett.
I have a confession to make. I don't like pineapple on pizza, but I like pizza that had pineapple on it. Because it kind of like has a little bit of the pineapple taste, but you don't have to eat the pineapple. It's kind of good. So I take it off, but I like that though.
Yeah, and obsession. There are some who are hating for the sake of hating. That's
Sure.
true as well. We call them grifters, but that they exist. And I'm not saying everybody who hates is a grifter. There are certainly some.
We're just saying that there's some insincere mofos on the platform. That's all.
Yes. So let's see. I've caught back up to what we do in the shadows here. Let's see.
What we do in the shadows of the Empire.
For some reason, the chat jumped back up, and I just now caught back up with that. Let's see if I can get.
Yeah, for sure, Nikki.
Yeah. And let's see. So I just got back to Fanjecture's comment here. Keep going. Meg plus the full package. Oh my goodness. I love Meg so much. And you guys, look, and I've said this publicly before, but Jason and Meg and others, Nikki, who have reached out to me, Mike Porter, and the list goes on and on. So many of you reached out to me to help me through this with my dad. You're all the best. So appreciate all of that. Let's see. Saul Gerrera. Oh, so Andor. I've done some homework, my friends. I've done some homework. I'm just scrolling through the chat here real quick to see if there's anything that just needs.
So Meg is saying that like Saw Gerrera is like the side chick of Star Wars characters, like you kind of keep her out, but you don't really let her in necessarily. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I highlighted it because I want to talk about Andor, and I started reading Catalyst.
Me too. I listened to the audiobook while I was driving recently.
Yeah, I started listening to it. I was going back and forth to the hospital. It's about a 45-50 minute drive each way, and so I've been listening to it out there, and I thought, wow, this is a preview to Rogue One, and Andor is a prelude to Rogue One. I was like, oh, I wonder how much crossover there might be there. And I looked it up because I was curious about that question. Catalyst, which I will say is an exceedingly good book. I've enjoyed it a lot. And I'm a little over halfway through, pushing 2/3 of the way through. And it's good.
It's really good. It should be called Galen Got No Game. That should have been the other title, though.
Galen. He was. Meg. Jason, I went on a date with someone called Pineapple. I agree. I like pineapple after my pizza. Wait, was that a question? Oh my goodness. So yeah, that's good. And yes, Catalyst greater than Plagueis. Yes, Jedi Mike. We'll talk about that in a moment as well. But look, Catalyst, really good story of Galen Erso and bringing him into what is ultimately going to become the Death Star, and Krennic, in their relationship together, Krennic and Galen, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It's a fascinating book. It's an entertaining book. It's really
like,
in
it's
depth.
Like Breaking Bad. It's almost like the way it flows is almost like Breaking Bad. Like you see why Galen plays into his stupid plans, like why he feels like he owes them at times. But also the big takeaway I think for Andor is how the corporations are organized during the Clone Wars, and then how they are organized a bit after the Clone Wars, like how we see what they become under totalitarianism. And and I think they've kind of hinted at, like, in a lot of the stuff that's exactly what we're gonna see, how we're gonna see things unfolding in Andor. But in Catalyst, you have like the several corporations that make arms and starships and stuff like that. But what we're gonna see on Andor is the people that have to supply the supplies to those corporations and what happens to them.
I see. Well, Catalyst, just for folks who are listening in, the timeline for it, according to Wikipedia, is 21 BBY to 17 BBY. So,
and it's the Clone Wars. Like when I first read it, it just didn't resonate with. I wanted to get right to the Rogue One. That's where I wanted to be. And when I listened to it again, it's like a Clone Wars novel. I mean, it's so much of it. Most of it's in the Clone Wars.
It is. It's right there. And I kept trying to place it. And as you're going along, you hear some of the events. You're like, you can peg it to something in the Clone Wars, and you're like, oh, this is when this is going on. You can follow it along. It's a great book. I mean, my goodness, it's so good. And the nice thing about it is, it ends at 17 BBY, so 17 years before, and Andor is 5 years before. There's no overlap. Yeah. So my first concern is Andor going to screw up Catalyst? The answer no.
I don't. I keep
12 years after
stuff like that. Like I watched Star Wars. Meg was covering like an article from the direct, and no disrespect to them or anything like that, to the direct themselves, but it's like the same people that are doing Andor are the same people that informed the backstories of all of this stuff and played with it. I don't think any of it's going to step on any of its toes. No, I think all of it's from their general, like, backstory Bible, if you will, that they created. And this is just like playing through everything that they thought through back during the Rogue One era. That's what Andor is.
Yeah, and it is. And the Catalyst, I was thinking about the homework before Andor. Yeah. And of course Rogue One is a no-brainer, right? Rogue One, you should watch it, and they're releasing it on IMAX this week, and they've got some Rogue One or Andor footage that's going to be shown in there as well. But some significant Andor footage from what I've read, and so that's one thing you can do. Another, I would suggest, and I'm reading Catalyst on Audible or the audiobook through the public library app. There was no wait, no hold. I was just able to check it out and listen to it immediately. You can do that for free. So anybody who's like constrained on budget, just get a library app, public library app. Get yourself a public library card. All that's free. Check out Catalyst and listen to it. It is absolutely worth it, and I think it's good homework before Andor. It'll help inform it, and it's a great book. So it really truly is like well done. Like it sort of set a standard for me with what the books can be that actually made me dislike most of the books that come out. Like it truly. Yeah. I mean. That and Bloodline, like, to me, set exactly how these novels and stuff should talk to the other media. And there's no reason that, like, it's almost like secrecy at times. They don't, they'll hire this person to write a Star Wars novel about like Bail Organa doing this one thing, but they don't trust them enough to tell them what's going on in the Kenobi series. So it just ends up feeling irrelevant. And it's just like, no, that's not how this should be going. Yeah.
And they've done it right. So I that's why I have faith in them doing it right again. But I kind of wish I keep hoping that we're going to have this like secret novel announced that's going to lead into Andor, like in the same way that Catalyst did, like with more stuff, almost like a sequel to the Catalyst book that plays alongside Andor. but I think we're gonna have to wait until after
because there's still a 12-year gap between the end of Catalyst and Andor. So there's still a story in there to tell, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great to see a Catalyst 2.
You know,
the lack of a better name.
I don't want to like kick off like false rumors or anything like that, but man, like 9 months ago, I just kept hearing that there was like a Saw Gerrera series. Just kept hearing it, and then like, you know, we got like the partisan stuff confirmed in Kenobi that those people were the partisans, and then we got Saw Gerrera confirmed in Andor, obviously, and especially we've seen him in the trailer now too. And so I'm like curious if that's going to be a thing, if that's what's coming down the road now, or if it's just all of this stuff about Saw Gerrera from both of these different series, one very tacitly and one very overtly where he's actually in it. If that's all that noise was, that smoke was just him coming back for that show. But that there's a big story to like still to, or there might be a big story to tell still after Andor with Saw Gerrera and stuff, but it might all be there too.
Yeah. And I watched Star Wars Explained this morning talk about the homework for Andor. And there is a listing on Disney Plus, like of episodes of like the Clone Wars to watch and different things. And I thought Alex was really good saying, don't read too much into that because there's a lot of stuff starting to hype up about Saw Gerrera. Says, you know, calm down, but there is likely to be, it'll help inform you on Saw's character.
When they're like episodes to watch and all of that stuff on Disney Plus, that's so handled by such a different entity than where people think that the heads are. It's completely irrelevant.
Right. And that's what he was saying. Like, don't read conspiracy into this because there could be. This is just people saying, "Oh, Saw Gerrera's in it. Here's some episodes with Saw Gerrera in it." Don't try to read into that. Like this story arc is going to be continued or somehow enhanced. You know, maybe don't go that deep into it. Nerd Mafia. Hey. Which Star Wars characters do Santa and Jason, not Jaden, most resemble?
Excuse me. My name is Jadon.
Well, I think there's an argument that should be said.
Jadon Wahlberg is my full name.
There is a character that shows up in the in Visions that looks a lot like me.
You mean Captain Rex?
Well, there's Captain Rex in when he's got the white beard, but there's a character in Visions. Unfortunately, it's in the Astro Boy episode, but he looks a lot like me. So there's that. There's a couple other ones that have looked a lot like in comics and stuff that look a lot like me. But I would have to say, unfortunately, the dude in the Visions episode, Jason, which character do you think most resembles you?
How was my Rancor Keeper? Did I do it? Did I make it work? There was this one. There was this guy.
You got to take your shirt off to do that. No, don't take your shirt. No, don't.
Got nothing to hide. There was this extra in Maz Kanata's castle. It's not flattering at all, but people kept seeing him before, and people going, "Dude, that's you, dude." They're putting you in it, man. And then it was just a guy, though. It was just a British guy.
And then on the thumbnail here, there's a thing about KOTOR. And I don't know what that is about. I did catch Meg do a little bit of an update on it. It looks like the date might be moving on it, but not terribly. It's not in as much trouble as they thought it was in, and it's still...
No. Well, it was in a bad place. It moved companies. It changed who was doing it. So that ended up probably being most likely true. It changed companies. And then there was a rumor that came out that said, oh, it's coming super quick. And then another video game guy came out and was like, no way, Jose. That's impossible. That's not happening that quick. So it's, you know, it's like a story, but it's also like, the people saying this stuff are big people in gaming, so it's not like they're not reputable sources.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like one unconfirmed story talking to another unconfirmed story to another unconfirmed story. And it's just like, yeah, the takeaway is that the game is far away either way you cut it. Like it's, but it's not canceled. That's the only like silver lining to the whole thing. It's just not canceled. Like that's our big takeaway. Unless you're a big video game person who likes the intricacies of the gaming industry, in which case there's a whole big story there. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of passing it around. The rumor was that the company who had it first spent the majority of the money, or that they had for the year, making a demo for the game, and then the demo was shown to Lucasfilm, and Lucasfilm loved that demo, but it's just is that's what happened. It was just trying to get that demo really, really well. So I wouldn't be surprised. There's some kind of video game thing happening in the industry. I don't remember what it was called, but I would not be surprised if we end up seeing footage from that demo on that games industry day that's coming up.
Excellent. Also wanted to bring up, we talked about a book I enjoyed or am enjoying, Catalyst. I reread Plagueis because I was reminded that maybe I'm not remembering all of it. So I went back and reread it, and they're right. I am not remembering all of it. Plagueis is 30 chapters long. It's got a prelude, a chapter before, and a prologue or epilogue after. So there's like 32 if you count those two, but those are really short.
Right.
9 chapters of that 32-ish, 30, are about Plagueis. 21 chapters are primarily about Palpatine, but it has some Plagueis involvement. And when listening to it, re-listening to it, there are more references to Palpatine, and I'd have to do this on a search, account. Palpatine, I believe, is mentioned in more chapters on more pages than Plagueis is mentioned in chapters and pages. Okay. And then there's it opens in the prologue before with Palpatine killing Plagueis. That's how the book. But even before you get to chapter 1, Palpatine kills Plagueis. He's dead. He's dead. Palpatine even hangs around to make sure he's dead, and he's dead. Right? So Plagueis is dead. The end. After that, then you get chapter 1. Plagueis kills his guy. What's his name? Tenebris. Yeah, Tenebris. Yeah. So he kills Tenebris, and then there's about 3 or 4 chapters after that about the immediate events after him killing Tenebris. And then chapter 9, he meets Plagueis or Palpatine. Chapter 10 kind of is a transition. And then it's Plagueis, or it's Palpatine pretty much after that, all the way through. So there's a story to be told of Plagueis up until the point where he kills Tenebris. Right? That part is not in the book at all. Right? So you don't really get any of the backstory of Plagueis, anything about Plagueis. You do get 9 chapters of Plagueis in there before he brings Palpatine under his wing. But there are other problems with this book.
I just remembered something. I might be misspeaking. Star Wars Insider had an exclusive story at the time, and it was all about Tenebris. Oh, and it might kind of touch on some of that. Neat. So might want to look that up just while you're on it. Yeah,
there we go. So there are other problems with the book. So there's some backstory problems with Maul that have changed. Those have been kind of told differently in the Clone Wars animated series. And there's also some problems with Padme, how Padme comes to power, that were contradicted in Queen's Shadow and those books. So Padme coming to fruition is different, and Maul is different. And people complain about force powers being used. So Palpatine uses force speed all the time, and like he's the Flash, Right? He runs around like the Flash, and unless you've got a trained eye, like it's too fast for a human eye to see.
That's so stupid.
He's always doing that.
When you imagine your head, it's like,
yeah, it's crazy. He does it all the time.
Unlimited power.
Zoom. Yeah, whoosh. Like I think of the Big Bang Theory, where they're all wearing the Flash outfits and they're running around. But yeah, that's Palpatine. And like whoosh, he's he runs into a room, kills a bunch of people. Whoosh, he's out, and they're like, whoa, people just got killed. And who did that? We don't know. It was too fast for the eye to see. And then so there's that, and then there's another where he uses where I think Plagueis actually uses force shield. I'm like, well, force shield, that's sort of like force push, I reckon, except he creates like a bubble around himself that's a force like shield,
which is really kind of dumb because it's like a very defensive mood or move.
It's weird,
which is very unlike how a Sith would be. Like that, a Jedi would do that if it was possible.
It's strange. It's strange. And then the other one that I was like, he uses a sonic blast and bursts like eardrums of people. Sonic blast. So, like, come on now. You guys need to get off of the Plagueis train. Get off of the Plagueis train. It's not that good of a book.
Well, okay, really quickly. One thing I wanted to say was, I think if you look at the title and think, you know what, this was a pitch story, and then it might not have even been named by James Luceno. It might have been the publisher who said, we're going to call this one Darth Plagueis. So if we just think of the title as a marketing ploy, and then just look at what the story is itself. And like how you have the two Sith Lords interacting, it's pretty fun though, isn't it? I mean, like the parts where they're like doing the experiments, like they're like killing, I think, a Biff, and then resurrecting him, but every single time he comes back, he's a little derpier. Like that stuff was like all like super fun, and I was like, and how that plays into like immortality with Anakin and stuff, like that kind of stuff was, and how you see what a con it was. That what Palpatine was doing, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you could bring back Padme, but she's gonna be hot still, but really derpy.
I see. I have some hot takes, and this may fall into my hot takes category. But people who are like canon junkies should not be Plagueis fans. And
sure. Well, I think anything from before 2012. Or whatever, before the redo of canon. Yeah, I mean it's all legends, right?
Meg's giving me a hard time. Of course, I think Santa read the wrong book. I've read the wrong book twice now, Meg, because people talked me into rereading it. And I'm like, Kristen, look, I'm shocked. I just finished reading the book. The book is amazing. Yeah. I suppose different strokes for different folks. Where
my Jenna Bros at?
In Fallen Order, they had a force shield in there. I said it's similar to force push, so I could kind of go with the force shield thing. But the like the racing around like the
Flash.
That's
not a Sith Lord. That's a defensive mood. They are attack. Jedi are supposed to be about defense, offense. It's like a whole thing that they've set up visually in the storytelling. They shoot lightning out of their hands. They don't need to make bubbles.
Right. It's just, I was just like, wow, this is odd. And there's just so much of the book. I was like, well, okay, like running around like the Flash. That's just a power that people have, right? They can just run around like the Flash, invisible to the eye. And maybe that's just me being an old, grumpy Gus at the prequels, because I know that speed in the Phantom Menace when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan like zip out of there, that was a cutting editing error. They didn't purposely have them run out that fast. They cut too many frames in there and zip, they were gone. And it was reported. I mean, there's been people who have reported that was an editing error, not a force power that was intentionally put in.
So wait, they made it into a force power for sure, though.
Oh yeah. Much like Luke Skywalker's Force kick.
But right? Like I remember Lucas talking about it and him saying that like he wanted to convey the idea that these are Jedi in their prime. They have all these amazing things that they can do, and they're not like Luke Skywalker, who's this untrained, dolt trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Force dolt, if you will. and so I get where he was going, but in retrospect, that was a terrible error. Or I should say a misstep in doing that, just because it never comes up again. It's completely irrelevant to, to everything. Yeah. And it's visually not very compelling. So it didn't really add anything. Like, we're laughing at the idea of Palpatine running around like that right now. Yeah. Instead of like, going, whoa, what if we saw that, bro? Because that's how we're supposed to be. Like, the stuff is dumb and easy, but that's so difficult to make good. Yeah, that's the power of George Lucas, though. Sometimes he made really difficult stuff good and made really difficult stuff just difficult to live with.
That's true. That's 100% true. 100% true. Like, his dialogue is infamously bad. Yeah. But some of it is so entertainingly good in its badness, right? It's just great. Yeah. Is there anything Lucasfilm from the Star Wars universe, extended universe?
I was going to ask you about this question. Do we tell him?
What do we?
Anthony.
I don't know where you're going.
They hired the Game of Thrones guys to make Star Wars, and they were going to do a whole series of films, and it was going to be the future of this era of filmmaking. And then they got $100 million and took off. So we got close. We got so close.
Right.
But
yeah. A lot of people would like to see KOTOR. KOTOR is what a lot of people would like to see.
I like KOTOR with wings. I never have any leakage whenever I use KOTOR with wings.
And Meg, I put a typo in when I searched for the book, and I got the history of plagues, not Plagueis. I see. There's my problem right there. That's what's my least favorite character besides Plagueis. Plagueis isn't my least favorite. I'm just saying the hype he gets is he's the most overhyped character that I can think of. I think his story is largely untold, as I mentioned. Like everything that from Plagueis before Tenebris is an untold story, and the Acolyte could help tell that story, and that story is there to be told, and it could be great. Yeah. And then you could cover the period of the novel where he's got Palpatine under his wing, but it has to be completely rewritten. And if people are hanging on to the content of the book, then they need to let that go, because it's got too many inconsistencies already. And
no, 100%. That's, I mean, when you get down to it, like I think people are on the same page as you though overall. Like people were okay with Plagueis being Snoke, or you know what I mean? Remember, like all of that stuff, which completely just none of that jived with the old book at all. But the general like concept of the character, I don't think he's a fully formed character still. I think James Luceno is one of the best Star Wars authors. I mean, James did Catalyst, right? Luceno did Catalyst. Am I right about
Catalyst?
That? Yeah. And so it's like we're literally we're being very fair to him right now. We're saying like, you wrote the best Star Wars book with Catalyst, and then you're saying like, I don't know about Plagueis, but I think he is one of the best Star Wars authors of all time.
He's really good.
I think he mostly does a really good job with everything.
Yeah.
And so I hope they let him do it again.
There you go. My least favorite character besides Plagueis, this is one of my hot takes. It's one of my hot takes. Anakin.
Oh, yeah?
Not a fan of Anakin. It annoys me.
What about when he said, Chappa Chowa? Come on.
Jake Lloyd, Anakin, I like.
Yeah.
Not a fan of, and it's not. I'm not a huge hater of the actor. I'm a hater of the character.
Canadians. We hate Canadians.
No, that's not true.
No.
But
Okay.
it's not true. No.
Okay. We love Mountie Justice. It's our favorite show. We actually have a podcast called Mountie Justice, and we talk about what it's all about. We love them, right? Mountie Justice.
But I would say, yeah, I'm not a fan of Clone Wars era Anakin. The movies from Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Anakin is my least favorite. Who would be your least favorite Star Wars character?
Man,
you could think of.
It's kind of weird because like they just kind of fall off. Like I just kind of like just don't care. I don't know if I have like a least favorite. Like it would imply like extreme feelings about a character. And yeah, for the most part, I don't know. I just kind of either care or I don't. So, but I will say I still think my hot take here is Fennec Shand is the most undercooked character in the whole live action television series thing right now. I think there's so much potential there, and I have no reason to care if she lives or dies or where she's going or where she's been right now. I just don't like when she showed up in Bad Batch. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's the thing from the other thing," and I'm like, but I don't know why I care, because right now I don't have like a thread on her. And so I think though, I believe in the future it will be fixed, or they will give her something. But right now I just like I don't have like a. So right now Fennec Shand is the one that I'm the most like disappointed in.
I think you made a really good argument for that. I love her character, but I agree with you. Like it is, I love her undercooked.
The character.
Well, let's not get that wrong.
No, I love her.
I do too.
Like, I love her.
Like, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like almost as much as Bix, but not as much as Bix. I love Bix.
Christian, I know I do this to people. They're like, "Oh, you're murdering my soul. I can't take these takes." This is why I live oftentimes on an island of one. I've mentioned it before. My takes are my takes and only my takes. So
Yeah.
They're not always good. So I want to close the show with a little bit of our Patreon only questions. So I had some Patreon topics submitted before the accident with Dad.
Yeah, give us the questions, patronies. Give Santa money. He'll answer anything. You want to know how to get on back on the basketball team? Santa will answer it.
I will on the live stream Patreon only. As if you'll support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, you could do this, and you can make comments like Star Wars Meg, where it says, "At the end of Empire Strikes Back, Han Solo was frozen in carbonite. Lando is seen in the Millennium Falcon wearing Han's clothes. It's one mystery that's always creeped me out." Fair. So her question is, why are Krispy Kreme donuts so freaking tasty? Right? Like, what do they put in them? Every time I'm being healthy, I eat one, and every enzyme in my body is aroused. They do that on purpose, and it's like your crack dealer, where they put up the hot and ready sign in the window, and you're like, "Oh, I must drive in," and then they'll give you one for free.
People don't know, but Santa's kids were conceived over a hot box of Krispy Kremes.
Man!
Each other, and like 50s music was playing, like little staccato, and like the one with jelly. Santa's got jelly all in his beard, and he's like,
they just evaporate as you eat them, much like cotton candy, but they're delicious. They're delicious. That's what they put in them, sugar and deliciousness. But the whole thing about Lando wearing Han's clothes, that's hilarious.
I have a question. Did Lando put on Han Solo's underwear, or did he say that's gross and therefore is either wearing old Bespin stinky underwear, or is he going commando under?
Well, the answer is clearly commando, because George says there's no such thing as underwear in Star Wars, right? At least they told that to Carrie Fisher.
I would tell that to Carrie Fisher too. I think they should follow that tradition and reshoot most of Andor and tell that to Bix. I think that's a good idea. That's where I stand. That's my hot take. I think everybody's with me on this hot take. Finally, I think I've united the chat. Maybe.
Wait, maybe. Even you might even have Nikki on your side. I don't know.
I think so.
What is the chosen one's favorite dinner? It's soup.
It's soup.
Soup. I don't know. I don't get it. It looks like a joke. But
I will tell you, it's Padme. Wrong. It's Padme.
It's Padme. Mm-hmm. Ducky Momo with his continuing stories of Broom Boy. Right, Ducky Momo has this long a history of Broom Boy, and so here we go. Broom Boy is out of hand. He's captured Mrs. Claus and forced her to watch the Star Wars Holiday Special on repeat, all the while constantly reminding her that Lumpy is a stand-in for his previous employer, Ronald Grump. The giveaway that Lump sounds like Grump, right? So you managed to shoo him away before any serious damages occur, but now Mrs. Claus is 99% bored with Star Wars. I got news for you, Ducky. She's already 99% bored with Star Wars before this happened. So, it's about to hit 100. If it happens, you won't be allowed to watch Andor. So you must act fast. You have to reinstate her love of Star Wars. What's the best seed you could think of? What do you choose? Well, I have to go back to probably The Mandalorian and a scene with a lot of Grogu in it. That's my only hope. Or go back to A New Hope. That's the only Star Wars movie that she has seen all the way through. All the other ones, she loses interest and stops watching.
Yeah.
I might be able to pull in The Force Awakens. That's the other one that she's like, why'd you watch that without me? I'm like, well, because you don't watch Star Wars. She said, well, that's the one I'll watch. And so maybe The Force Awakens. So that's
back in 2007 or whatever, when I first got with my baby mama back then. We went out and I was like, you want to go back to my house? And she's like, yeah. And then she's like, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, and then I'm like, oh, I got the holiday special. You ever see that? And in my brain, I'm like, I'm going to put on the holiday special. She's like, this is so boring. We're going to make out. Yeah, that'll work. I put that on and she never saw. She's like, this is crazy. And she's like, sat there like watching the whole thing intently. And I was just like, what have I done to myself? I should have got out then, but then I wouldn't have my beautiful children. But you know what I mean?
Well,
okay.
But
yeah. But that was a sign. That was a sign.
So when we see your son in the chat now, we can just refer to him as Lumpy.
Lumpy, yeah. Yeah. That sounds right.
Would you ever read the new Jedi Order books? Yes. Those are based off of isn't that based off of the game, right?
That's the band that came after Joy Division. Sorry, I made myself laugh with that one. New Order. Come on, New Order.
Okay. But how about we follow that up with a Mike Porter dad joke?
Oh,
how about we do that?
You're trying to make me look bad.
I just they redid the control here, and I can't find my Mike Porter dad joke. Oh, hold on a second, it's in here somewhere.
Oh, it's the big button that says Porter. You just click that one, and then it comes up. It's red. It says in case of emergency. In case of Jason getting canceled again, hit Mike Porter joke button, and you hit that button.
Let's try this again.
Yeah.
Where did you go? Where did you go? I'm like, it was here. I copied it in earlier today. Let's see. I thought it was under text. You go under text. There's ticker,
Brian.
banner. Oh, here we go. I found it. I found it. What does director Akbar say when he's finished directing the final scene in a movie? This is easy. You should get this one.
I could do it again, Jack. What does he say?
It's a wrap.
He's back.
I love Mike Porter.
I'm not going to lie. I thought he lost it, but he's back.
See, Meg got it. Yeah. A lot of people, Baymax, he had it. It's a wrap. Jedi Mike. It's a wrap. But be honest, did you already see it on Mike Porter's Twitter feed?
Ooh, let's have Mike Jordan make a joke about that one song, WAP. It works too. Just saying. Think about it. Look it up if you don't know what it means.
I don't.
An acronym. WAP.
She's saying that those it's so good. It has so many amazing authors.
It's so good. It's so many amazing authors. The
Jedi Order books.
Okay.
Oh, New Jedi Order's Legends. The Children of Han, Leia. Oh. Wait a second. Are those the New Jedi Order? Actually, Christian, I have read 2 of those books. I'm in the 3rd one, and I got sidetracked. And in I think it's the 3rd one where Palpatine somehow he's back. I just use that,
Yeah, I thought about this the other day. I was like, people giving that sand line a lot of grief. Somehow Palpatine came back. I think that takes the cake for me. I think that's the line of what are you doing right now with your Star Wars life?
So yes, exactly. I agree with you, Ian. And Christian, to be more specific, I would like to maybe see them take that idea, the concept of the New Jedi Order. It's Luke's Jedi Academy. The kids are on like this, almost like Amazonian rainforest kind of moon, and there's a Jedi Academy there, and the kids go on these adventures, doing things kids do. I would like to see them maybe adapt that concept into a post Rise of Skywalker, and put Rey and Finn involved in some sort of deal like that, or even to take an animated series following Return of the Jedi with Luke and do that in an animated series, not direct adaptations of those books, because some of it's not great, but they are. I've enjoyed some of the adventures so far. Yeah.
Well, what if they do a book about like somebody else who just goes and builds a Jedi temple across the street from Luke's Jedi temple and is like, ours is better. What are we gonna do about it? What's Luke gonna do? You can totally grift off of Luke Skywalker there and be like, no, he. So we have the Force here, trust us, but he abuses it. He's just using it to feed his mom pears and stuff like his dad. We don't do that here. The
other concept I would like to see is maybe a sort of take off of Harry Potter, where you've got different houses within a school, and it's the coming of age of school age, like young teen, young adolescents, and dealing with the issues of life. Woo!
I am convinced that the fire department down the street goes to lunch right now.
Okay, Christian.
Turn on the sirens.
I'm on Young Jedi Knights. Okay, so I flipped that. The New Jedi Order. Okay, I'll have to check out the New Jedi Order, Christian. I haven't seen that. And I saw somebody else mention earlier the books about Bane. I haven't caught up to those yet either. Both of those are on my list. This one's now on my list. Young Jedi Knights is the one I was thinking of. And yeah, Palpatine comes back in that. So, and there's a little adventure with Lando and all that kind of thing. But I would like to see
that idea of just taking the Harry Potter model and applying it to a Star Wars thing and just sort of like siphoning off some of that. Yeah, I don't know, structure.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Like, why
exactly?
Exactly.
I think it's fit for it, and that we haven't really had that other than the Young Jedi Knights so far that I've been exposed to, that kind of young teen, young adolescent story where, of course, they're smarter than all the adults and they save the world.
Little Leia kind of did that in a way.
She kind of did.
Kenobi series a little bit. There's a little bit of that Hermione going on there, I think. But yeah, but for the most part, like you need kids want to see other kids going to the first day of Jedi school and then meeting their friends and then exploring that stuff. Like that's where, and then living in that structure and that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think that but right now Star Wars is so diametrically opposed to that, where everything is based on this perspective of they take you from your family and now everybody's hurting, man. And I get it. It's a fine thing, but the real, once the idea cat's out of the bag, they can't stop messing with it. And it's a perspective that you could definitely have. But I hope after Acolyte, if the rumors pan out, I hope after Acolyte, they really kind of put that to bed for a while.
That'd be great. That'd be great. And I think Skeleton Crew could maybe be ish in that era, but I don't know that they're going to really, like you said, like they show up at Jedi school.
Sounds like a pirate ship to me.
So, it does. And they did it a little bit in the Clone Wars animated series in Rebels a little bit with the kids who were conscripted. Right. Mm-hmm. So they meet each other and they have classes with each other. And you even see that with Boba Fett when he's part of that whole kind of thing, where you have them with their peers. And there was the arc where
and that one girl, this is my kid voice. I just hold my nose and now I'm a 7-year-old girl.
That voice is a little bit much for me sometimes.
And who was the young Wookiee that we saw?
Gunji, man, come on, have some respect. How could you forget Gunji, the great?
Gunji the Great. Yeah, well, so Gunji's going to be in these Tales of the Jedi, that's coming, and so that sort of was there in that. No.
Am I confused?
Maybe I'm confused. No, I think you're right. Bad Batch season 2,
which is why I care about Bad Batch right now because I love Gunji.
Yeah.
It's a little wooden lightsaber.
Yeah, so he's going to be in there, and you got some of that when they were stranded on that with being chased, and so I think Star Wars is ripe for it. And Jeremy, I'm with you. I dig an animated show post Return of the Jedi, dealing with Luke training Leia, a cameo of Force Ghosts, young Ben, Uncle Chewie, and lots of others that we've never met. Right, so he goes and finds these young Force sensitives. Bring them in, and you have that what Jason was saying, like they meet each other, they form friendships, they form alliances, they form, nemesis and all of these other things, right?
Jedi Temple
it could
mysteries.
Be great.
What's going on under the Jedi Temple? Oh no, the Sith Lord made a lair. All that stuff.
My mind went into a place, and maybe I just sometimes think about things too hard. Coruscant, the Jedi Temple. And we know Coruscant's hundreds and hundreds, thousands.
Vanessa's calling me daddy right now. oh no, she's talking about your dad. Never mind.
Like 1,000 stories tall, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the Jedi Temple sits on top. And we know it's built on top of a Sith temple underneath. How far down?
That's rude. Just rude.
How tall is the Jedi Temple? How many stories does it have before you get down to the Sith? Is it over 1,000 stories tall so that it sticks up on top of Coruscant where it's standing bright? How many layers are under there? But that's the things that I just randomly start thinking about in inappropriate times. I'm like, I know it's underneath there.
Right.
How far is underneath? Is it basement 1 or is it basement 1,250? I don't know. These are questions I need answered.
Is there just some schmo like me eating top ramen in an apartment underneath down there 1,000 stories below? Probably.
I don't know. I don't know. Vanessa, she just popped in. Good to see you. Hope my dad's doing well. Thank you. Yeah. Vanessa's been awesome. She texted me. I got to talk to her the other night. I was driving home, just needed somebody to chat with, and she was great. She was great.
Good work, Vanessa.
Yeah, Christiane, Jedi Order is a 19-book series. Galaxy being invaded by force immune creatures. Oh, the Yuzan Vong. Okay, that's the Yuzan Vong stuff. I got you. I'm familiar with that.
Yuzan Vong, yeah. I think he runs a video game reseller company at my mall. He's pretty cool.
So
Nice.
Jedi Mike in the community say it's 108 stories. I don't understand. What's like level 1313? Isn't that like in the depths of Coruscant?
No, I mean not really, because you see Ahsoka fall down the thing and then go. So I'm gonna guess that maybe they're such okay. I solved it. They're such jerks on Coruscant. Level 1's the top.
Okay. There
Maybe.
you go.
You know what I mean? Like number 1 is on the top, and then you go down. I don't know.
These are just weird things that come. Is it built on top of a mountain? So all these other structures are 1,000 stories tall, but this one actually starts like on
Yeah.
story 1,400 because it was a really tall mountain, and then they put the Sith temple on there, and they built the Jedi temple on top of that, and so these others are thousands of stories tall, but it's only 108 stories tall because it's already on top of a mountain.
Why was it Hurley in Force Awakens? Answer that, Jedi Mike.
Hurley
Should have been. They should give Hurley a Star Wars job. I love Hurley. I want Hurley to get work. They made a bad Weezer record after him that wasn't good enough. I say, give him a Star Wars job. Let him be like a bartender.
Yeah, it's these are just stupid questions I think of sometimes. It's completely irrelevant.
Stuff. This is important stuff. I hope Lucasfilm's taking notes. Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh my goodness!
Stuck up, Kathleen Kennedy. Not taking notes about all this gold.
That's so Jason, when is your show? Did you move it? Is it?
Rob doesn't have coolant in his computer or something. You know how my computer overheats when it gets hot? He wanted to copy me and be cool because he just, I'm a trendsetter. So I'm going to do my show after we're done, but I don't care about a schedule. So I'm just happy to hang out with you again. So if you need more minutes,
look, Jason,
more hours, I'll go hours. I don't care.
I heard this morning a recording of a black hole in space. Have you heard that recording yet?
No, but wow. I mentioned her earlier, and here she is again.
It sounded a lot like my stomach right now.
Oh,
so if you go listen to that, you'll know.
Santa's going to go eat the cookies and just take the one bite and put it back.
Yeah, it's like that's the black hole in space, and that's my stomach. It's a black hole. It says feed me.
Yeah. Oh, Mike says all hell Lambhead all day. I was thinking, since I got Lambhead, I think you should have Horsehead after the opening of today. I think we should Horsehead and Lambhead should be on the docket for Star Wars characters that need to happen today.
I like these last two comments. Do you believe in black holes? For real, for real. Well, of course I believe in them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm Santa. Of course I believe in them.
And then he gets around.
If you listen real closely and you put the filter on, you can hear the black hole say, somehow Palpatine returned.
Even the universe is groaning about it. It's going, somehow Palpatine returned. Stupid J.J. Abrams. Stupid. It was cool when he bought his pizza, though. One time he bought his pizza. That was cool. Not as cool as Ryan, who came and hung out the whole night. That whole night on Celebration, he was there and he met every single person that stayed up to go to his panel. And then the internet called him a jerk and made it sound like he was too good for everybody because they're wrong. But JJ was too good for us, but he did buy us pizza and I appreciated it.
There you go. You go. Did it have pineapple on it though?
No, it was just cheese because JJ's cheap.
Okay.
Cheap ass JJ. No.
Okay. Well, hey, Jason.
He was just being palatable.
It's important for me to get back to talking to you all. I've truly enjoyed it. It's great for me, and one of the things that I've really come to appreciate is that we all have very difficult lives. We all have very difficult things happening. I met a young man Sunday at church who was in a head-on collision years ago, and he had traumatic brain injury. Brain swelling, and so he still has neurologic damage the rest of his life, and that happened when he was like 16 years old. And And so terrible things happen to people every day. And I see it on the news. I see it going on around the world. And to be able to just be silly, hang out and laugh and just be idiots, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Horse face, landhead, Kenobi's for life.
It's been great to hang out with you, all of you all. I have really enjoyed it. So
except for Matt Risman. Hate Matt Risman. No, love you, Matt. I'm just joking.
Yeah, I do too. It's great, guys. So no outro again today. I apologize for that, but we'll get the intro and the outro put in for another stream this week. I can't guarantee we're going to be on the regular schedule yet, but we needed to get going again, and I hope to be able to hang out with Meg on Friday. If that's all I'm able to do this week, then so be it. But I'm still covering things for my dad and taking care of some things for home. So
Santa's back. Don't do crap.
Yay!
You're in school. Don't be a fool. I'm trying to write the new end song for you.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's my demo. Baymax. Did you record that? Clip that, Baymax. Thanks.
All right.
I'm
Hey,
gonna later.
We'll get the outro back, and we'll get Darth Elvis's rendition of Star Wars Santa playing for the outro very soon. So again, thanks, Jason. Thank you so much, my friend.
Welcome
You've
back.
been awesome. And
your dad, I said, you're a badass.
I sure will.
Keep it up, man.
He certainly is. So thank you so much. Well, and until next time, my friends, I hope that you have a wonderful day. Have fun. Enjoy your family. Spend time with them. Give them a hug. Tell them you love them. And we'll see you next time, right? Until then.
Meat.
Merry Christmas, everybody.